Imagine walking down the Las Vegas Strip in 2025. The neon still glows, the fountains still dance, and the casinos still sparkle with promises of fortune. But beneath that glitter lies a very different reality, one that has tourists furious and CEOs panicking. A bottle of water that once cost $1 now sits in your hotel minibar for 26. A valet service that used to be complimentary now demands $40 just to hand you back your keys. Meals that were once cheap and legendary now hit $50 before you even order a drink. And those dreaded resort fees, they've ballooned into a mandatory tax that can outprice the room itself. For decades, Vegas built its empire on being the place where anyone could come and feel like a high roller. But somewhere along the way, the city traded hospitality for hidden charges, squeezing every possible dollar out of guests who thought they were just coming for fun. The problem: tourists aren't taking it anymore. Social media is exploding with viral outrage, millions sharing receipts, hacks, and tricks to dodge the gouging. Locals whisper that the casinos are rattled, and industry leaders quietly admit they fear the backlash is finally hitting where it hurts most: the bottom line. In this video, we'll uncover the most outrageous ripoffs plaguing Las Vegas, show you exactly how travelers are fighting back, and explain why the entire business model of the Strip might be standing on the edge of collapse. For decades, Las Vegas was celebrated as the playground of the ordinary American. In its golden years, the Strip thrived on a simple bargain: come to town, spend freely on the tables, and everything else would feel like a bargain. Buffets cost a few dollars, drinks flowed without question, valet parking was free, and the hotels competed not just with neon and entertainment, but with generosity. That generosity wasn't charity, it was strategy. The city knew that the more comfortable you felt, the more you'd gamble, and that was the real engine of Vegas. Over time, though, the face of the city changed. The mob era of smoky backrooms and handshake deals gave way to corporate boards and shareholder meetings. Instead of hustlers in silk suits, it was CEOs in corner offices who controlled the Strip. They weren't interested in building long-term loyalty. They were interested in squeezing profit quarter by quarter. Slowly, the perks began to disappear. Free parking became a memory. Cheap buffets turned into expensive food halls. Complimentary drinks came with conditions. And then came the invention that symbolized the shift: the resort fee. Sold as a way to cover extras like Wi-Fi and pool access, it became nothing more than a hidden tax that guaranteed revenue no matter how low the room rates dropped. For years, tourists grumbled, but paid resigned to the idea that Vegas was still worth it for the spectacle. But the economic climate of 2025 made that bargain harder to swallow. With inflation squeezing wallets across America, people arriving in Vegas suddenly realized they were being charged more than ever for less than they had before. Social media turned their frustration into a movement. Viral posts about $26 water bottles and $35 margaritas spread like wildfire, and suddenly the image of Vegas shifted. What was once a city of indulgence started to look like a city of exploitation. That shift in perception is critical because Vegas doesn't just sell hotel rooms or meals, it sells an illusion. If people feel cheated before they even sit at a blackjack table, the illusion collapses. And as we enter the body of this story, we'll break down the scams, surcharges, and hidden costs that are fueling the rebellion of tourists and the nervous whispers in corporate boardrooms across the Strip. It starts with something so basic that it almost feels like satire: a bottle of water. At Aria, one of the Strip's most luxurious properties, guests discovered bottles in the minibar tagged at $26 each. Everyone knows minibars are expensive, but this one sparked an online firestorm because it felt like an insult. Within hours, social media feeds were flooded with outrage memes and side-by-side comparisons showing Aria's $26 water against the $2.29 bottles at Walgreens just steps away. The backlash became one of the most shared Vegas scandals since the infamous $35 nacho plate at the Fontainebleau, and it sent a clear signal: Tourists are done being gouged for life's essentials. But water is only the beginning. Next comes the single most hated charge in Las Vegas, the resort fee. Once marketed as covering Wi-Fi gym access and local calls, it has become nothing more than a guaranteed revenue stream, often running $35 to $60 per night. The irony is obvious: who in 2025 needs a landline call or wants to pay extra just to step into the pool? Guests have started to fight back by avoiding strip resorts entirely, instead booking with places like Treasure Island or Four Queens downtown that refuse to play along. And if food was once the thing that made Vegas special today, it has become another symbol of corporate greed. Legendary buffets and cheap late-night diners have given way to sleek food halls where even a quick bite can run $50 before adding a drink. For many tourists, the math is simple: skip the strip and head to Chinatown or neighborhood diners a few blocks away where authentic food is served at half the price. But perhaps the most insidious tactic is one that's harder to prove yet deeply resented: surge pricing. Guests whisper about bottles of Coke that cost $4 one day and $8 the next, with no posted explanation, leading many to suspect casinos are quietly experimenting with dynamic pricing. The result is a complete erosion of trust, pushing more and more people toward Walgreens or ABC stores, where the price on the shelf stays the same. For a city that once prided itself on transparency and spectacle, these tricks represent a dangerous new game, one where the house isn't just trying to beat you at cards, but at every single purchase you make. If overpriced water, hidden resort fees, and inflated meals weren't enough, the Strip has also become a minefield of hustlers and performers demanding money at every turn. Once upon a time, street entertainers added color to the Vegas experience: musicians strumming guitars, showgirls posing for the occasional tourist photo. Today, it feels less like entertainment and more like harassment. Visitors complain of aggressive tactics, from showgirls insisting on payment after a picture to costumed characters refusing to let people walk away without handing over cash. Some tourists respond by politely declining and moving on, but a new wave of rebellion is emerging, filming these encounters, posting them online, and turning the hustlers into viral villains. While that might feel satisfying in the moment, it also carries risks, because not everyone takes kindly to being exposed. Still, the message resonates. People are tired of being shaken down just for walking the Strip. Shopping presents another trap. High-end malls inside casinos lure tourists with glittering storefronts, but the reality is far less glamorous. Beyond luxury brands like Louis Vuitton or Gucci, where prices are the same, worldwide are smaller shops pushing phone chargers, cosmetics, and accessories at outrageous markups. Tourists who would never buy a $40 charging case at home suddenly find themselves paying double under the Vegas dazzle. The smarter ones are sidestepping the scam entirely by ordering from Amazon drop boxes located throughout the valley, where same-day delivery undercuts Strip prices with ease. Then comes alcohol, a tradition in Vegas that has turned into one of the city's most shameless gouges. A domestic beer at a Caesars property can run $17, a margarita $35, and even a Diet Pepsi commands $9. For many, the workaround has become almost ritual: stock up at Walgreens or an ABC store pre-game in the hotel room and carry drinks openly on the Strip, where public drinking remains legal. Finally, there is the fee that symbolizes just how far Vegas has drifted from its roots: valet parking. What was once a complimentary service meant to welcome guests has morphed into a mandatory $40 charge just to retrieve your car. Automation has stripped away much of the human touch, and unless you hold a casino-branded credit card or high-tier loyalty status, there's little escape. Some visitors park at properties like Circus or Resorts World, which still offer free options, but the reality is clear: Vegas has transformed a symbol of hospitality into yet another bill on your account. Together, these scams paint a picture of a city that has forgotten the very people who built its legend. And as tourists push back harder than ever before, the cracks in the foundation of the Strip are starting to show. What is happening in Las Vegas is more than just a handful of bad experiences. It is a mirror reflecting a deeper crisis in the American economy. The The Strip, once the ultimate symbol of hospitality, now looks like a corporate machine designed to squeeze every dime from its guests. But the pushback shows that travelers are no longer willing to accept the old bargain. Instead of shrugging off high prices, they are taking to TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, exposing every receipt, every scam, and every ridiculous charge. In the past, the anger of a single customer meant nothing. Today, a viral post can reach millions overnight and damage a casino's reputation faster than any official investigation. This dynamic has executives in boardrooms rattled because Las Vegas survives not on necessity, but on image. If the illusion breaks, the entire model begins to crumble. To understand the scale of the problem, it helps to look beyond Nevada. Other cities have faced similar reckonings. In San Francisco, the cost of visiting has become so outrageous that tourists often avoid the city altogether, a trend that has devastated local businesses. In New York, dynamic pricing is now common for everything from Uber rides to Broadway tickets, breeding resentment that drives people away. Even Macau, once touted as the Vegas of the East, has learned that focusing solely on high rollers leaves you vulnerable. When China's economy slowed and government crackdowns hit Macau's casino, revenues collapsed. Vegas is not immune to the same fate. For decades, it thrived because it welcomed the middle class, the bus tour, the bachelor party, the family road trip. But the transformation into a luxury-only playground risks cutting off the very lifeblood that kept the Strip alive. Data already shows warning signs. Visitor numbers fluctuate wildly. Average spending is down once basic fees are accounted for, and repeat customers, once the heart of Vegas, are starting to disappear. What tourists are saying online is not just frustration, it is a shift in behavior. They are seeking alternatives, booking rooms in Reno or Laughlin, flying to Atlantic City, or even skipping domestic trips in favor of affordable international destinations. For them, Vegas is no longer the escape it once promised. It feels like a trap. And that perception is deadly. At its core, Las Vegas sells fantasy, a chance to live larger than life for a weekend. But when guests feel conned before they even hit the casino floor, the fantasy evaporates. The backlash is not just about overpriced water or resort fees, it is about broken trust. A city built on spectacle cannot afford to be seen as greedy. If the current path continues, Vegas may discover that the revolt of everyday tourists is far more dangerous than any financial downturn, because it undermines the very magic that made the desert glow in the first place. Las Vegas has not disappeared, but in many ways it has lost its soul. The neon still burns and the fountains still rise, but beneath the spectacle lies a city that too often feels like it is cheating the very people who keep it alive. For some visitors, the Strip has become less of a dream and more of a trap, a place where every sip of water and every step into a parking garage carries a hidden price tag. Yet the story isn't only one of decline, it is also one of rebellion. Tourists are proving that they are not powerless. They are exposing scams on social media, choosing hotels that reject resort fees, dining off the Strip, and finding clever ways to enjoy the city without feeding into corporate greed. That defiance is forcing casino bosses to pay attention, perhaps for the first time in years. The real question is whether Vegas can change course. Can the city that once welcomed the world with generosity reinvent itself for a generation of travelers who demand transparency and fairness? Or will it cling to its short-term profits and watch its reputation collapse? In the end, Las Vegas feels like an old friend who has undergone too much plastic surgery. The shape is familiar, but the warmth and charm are fading. Whether it can rediscover its magic depends not on CEOs or shareholders, but on whether ordinary people still believe the trip is worth it. What do you think? Can Vegas reinvent itself, or is it destined to decline? Leave your thoughts below, and if you found this breakdown eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because the revolt against hidden fees has only just begun, and the next chapter in Vegas's story may be the most shocking one yet.